Hello everyone, this is Kullervo, our new Warframe. He does very interesting things. He has, I think, up to the limit of what we can do with heavy attacks, and that is very interesting to me. I don't like how he looks very much. I'm not really a fan of what he looks like. In terms of the farm and able to get him, it wasn't too bad. I just did a bunch of the limited time event, but once that event's gone, I'm not sure it's going to come back, but if it's gone, it's going to be a lot harder to get a hold of him. But in the next 10 days, as of this video, if you do the event, you could probably pick him up pretty easily. But yeah, let's jump into his abilities and what he does. He does quite a lot of stuff, so I'm going to try and unpack it as best I can. Okay, onto his passive. Kullervo boasts a 75% heavy attack efficiency and 100% heavy attack wind-up speed on all melee weapons. In addition to this, I'll throw it up on screen, Kullervo's melee combo counter is passively increased by the following abilities. Recompense, successful hits on enemies add 1 melee combo per dagger, excluding missed daggers, which hurt him. Melee weapon attacks and ability dagger hits spread by collective curse, which is his third ability. Add 1 melee combo per hit, and Storm of Uko's direct damage adds 1 melee combo per tick. It doesn't explain it in the passives, I don't know why. It doesn't really say it in any of these, but that is quite an integral part to his kit. I don't know why it doesn't say it here. Anyway, onto his first ability, Wrathful Advanced. If you tap it, Kullervo charges a heavy attack, then teleports to his target and strikes. It increases his melee crit chance, which is quite good. It has a duration of 10 seconds base. If you hold it, you can teleport to any marked location, which I haven't found very useful myself. His second ability, Recompense. Kullervo surrounds himself with daggers. Each dagger that strikes an enemy restores his health, but each dagger that misses an enemy strikes Kullervo, dealing a bit of damage. When Kullervo has max health, he receives Overguard from struck enemies. This I will come back to, but this is his ability, in my opinion, that you would subsume for something else as of right now. Overguard, because it's capped at 5,000 and it doesn't have any gating abilities like shielding, it doesn't really do very much for him in terms of survivability. So this is the ability that I would swap out for something else if you were going to swap it out for anything. Collective Curse. Kullervo sends forth a curse that binds enemies. When a cursed enemy takes damage from him, every other cursed enemy also suffers a portion of that damage. That is a very strong ability. I will have footage up on screen of a still path and you can see for yourself. I will show you in the simulacrum as well just how strong this ability can be. Storm of Uko, or Ukko. The Void answers Kullervo's invocation with a storm of daggers that rain down upon his enemies. Basically what it is a big AoE pool area where daggers fall from the ground and just give loads of people slash procs. It is very strong. On top of that, because of the passive, you gain 1 melee combo per tick, which is, you'll see, it's very strong. So those are his abilities. So just to speak about his problems, what he currently is bad at, which I think is a really good thing. I like Warframes that have negative they have problems as well as they have bonuses. I don't like Warframes that have, they're all-encompassing, OP, good at everything. I like problems with my Warframes so you can actually build and offset them or mitigate them with another player or another Warframe. You know, teamwork, I like encouraging teamwork. So I'm not really that fussed that he has problems. But anyway, the main problem is he doesn't have shields. So like Nidus, like Inaros, he doesn't have shields. So you can't really build for shields, shield gating, which means it's a major problem going to endgame with him. Obviously, armor and damage reduction will go to a point, and then obviously at level 5,000 enemy will one-shot through that 90% damage reduction that you have. So that you need things like Rolling Guard to be able to just stop that. But he has an ability that can, for the first time, can add Overguard to a Warframe. The problem with Overguard is it doesn't have shield gating. It's not a shield gating ability like shields. You can't do very much with it. So with his second ability, Recompense, you send out daggers, and as you can see, I've gained 2,000 HP at 670 with my base health at 675. The problem with it is it's not tied to your shields or health. So when it goes, it's gone, and you take damage straight to health again. So there's no benefit of shield gating. So you don't have a little bit of time to recast to get your Overguard back, like shield gating would do for you. The only good thing I can say about Overguard is that it does proc arcanes through the damage. But in Steel Path with my testing, I found that I will cast Recompense, get my 5k full capped Overguard, which is a lot of HP, and it will go instantly, and I'll be back to my HP again. So, in my opinion, as of right now, unless they change the cap, that would be my main suggestion. It would be to change the cap and Recompense. At the moment, it's capped at 5,000. If it was multiplied by your strength, i.e. you could gain Overguard up to like 20k, 30k, it might have a bit more viability, but as of right now, it's kind of useless. So this is the main ability that I have swapped out for other abilities. Onto the other abilities that he does that you can synergize with. Obviously, I have here Steel Path, Corrupted Heavy Gunners at level 195. I'm going to use 2 abilities and pretty much kill 2 squadrons of them. It is amazing. So if you stand over here, you cast Storm of Echo here, you stand at the back, and you cast Collective Curse. It will link these enemies to those enemies over there that aren't standing in the ultimate. And as you can see, I've pretty much nearly killed a level 200 Steel Path Corrupted Heavy Gunner indirectly. So all of these have pretty much died in one cast. And they have all pretty much nearly died. Like, that is very strong. I know they didn't die, but they are very nearly dead. You know, for an ability to do that on its own, and then just to, you know, just to spread that to other people, that it just does insane damage. Like, it's so much damage. Obviously, when they're all together, they can compound together. So I'll show you that quickly. So bring them all over. Alt here. And then pass the Collective Curse through them all. And it just compounds damage. Each one is adding to its own damage. It's like a multiplier of itself. And you can see that it just absolutely annihilates people. Like, it's like, just to remind you, these are level 200 Steel Path enemies. You rarely see that level of enemy unless you're going to endgame. That's like best of the best, like high effective HP enemies, and in 2 abilities I've killed them. Like, it's very strong, and that is just 2 abilities, not added to his heavy attack capabilities of what he does with heavy attacks. So just to talk about his synergies, obviously he's a melee based warframe. He does a lot of things to do with combo count, which means that he can utilize and ramp up a lot of combo count very, very quickly. So this is a unmodded Kullervo. If I just use my ultimate here, I stand here, as you can see, I'm gaining combo counter very quickly. I'm at 5 times, 6 times now, which means it's proc to my Sanctum Magistar Incarnate weapon. And I've not had to swing it once to do this, which is amazing. That is a base ultimate ability used. I'm at 10 times, and it just absolutely annihilates people. Obviously, he gains wind-up speed and heavy attack efficiency. So, on top of that, when I cast my ultimate, I stand here for a little bit. You know, I got 3 times. It gets up to 4 times. If I use a heavy attack, it doesn't consume all of it. It goes to 4 times. Do it again. Goes to 3 times. So you don't lose it all immediately, which is very nice on subsequent heavy attack hits. That's one of the big problems that heavy attack was balanced by, because you would consume combo count by heavy attack. So you would offset that by having initial combo count upon swing, which is like Corrupt Charge, which gives you 3 times. So you don't need that necessarily on Kullervo, and you don't need to sacrifice any mods for it. In fact, you gain 1 mod slot on your melee weapon by not having Corrupt Charge. You don't need it for Kullervo specifically, because he builds his combo count in other ways. So now that we've discussed Kullervo in his entirety, basically, I'll explain the builds I have. I have 2 predominantly. One that is building for melee damage and melee heavy attacks, and the other one is to build for his abilities and armor strip. So for both builds, we have my heavy attack. I've subsumed Recompense with Pull. Pull does so much for this build. It is insane. So just to show you what Pull can do, if I have 2 groups of enemies like you normally do, I can pull these guys over here, run behind them, and cast like that, and they're all linked, which is beautiful. And that's what Pull does. And also on top of that, Pull will let you hit more enemies and bring them into melee range. Obviously, melee being melee, you have to pull enemies to you or go to them. So Pull does 2 things in essence. I can explain. I'll quickly show up a little crappy paint explanation as to why Paul is good when you combine it with his third ability. And so with that build, we have Subsume Paul. We have 155% duration, obviously just to keep Storm of Echo going for as long as possible. Collective Curse also is amplified by duration, how long it lasts. It lasts a very long time, really, but enemies die a lot quicker than 38 seconds, so it's a weird one. We have negative strength because we're not really going for strength from the Storm of Echo. We want max range for Paul to maximize as much damage from our melee weapons as we can, but we also want enough range that Collective Curse can hit everybody, Paul can grab everybody in, and I wanted enough duration to keep Storm of Echo going, because the longer it's going, it's a lot easier to maintain when you have loads of enemies getting hit by Storm of Echo. You want as many enemies being hit by it as possible at all times. That's why Paul is so good. You can stand inside your own ultimate, pull enemies into it, and it will keep your combo counter just trucking on. We have Growing Power in the main slot, in Aura slot, because it will bring the strength over 100%, and that's pretty much it. You don't really need Armor Strip. You can have Armor Strip in here. Obviously, this build is very late game stuff. I have Arcane Energize to keep on top of my energy. I have Normal Flow because I can't fit it in with Umbral Vitality and Intensify at the moment. I have Arcane Grace just to offset the fact that I don't have shields, and I need Umbral Vitality just to buff my health up enough. He gains 100% armor like from rank bonusing, so in theory you could add Umbral Fiber in here at some point, but I need an Umbral Former to do so, but I don't have any at the moment. So Normal Flow it is. Normal Flow 150% with 250% extra energy anyway. My flow normally has 200% anyway, so really I'm not really missing very much. But that's the build. You can swap out obviously continuity for normal continuity, normal vitality, normal intensify, normal umbral fiber, things like that. But that's the build. If I could fit Prime Sure-Footed, I would. And that's the Paul build. That is to play around heavy weapons. So this build here is to build around his abilities. So instead of Paul, I have Terrify, which is Armor Strip, so which means I don't have to take Unaru Focus for my operator. I can take Magirai or Zenuric to get energy that way. I've sacrificed my efficiency for more strength. I've kept the same shin and I've kept the same range, because range is so good for Kullervo. It just helps you in so many ways. Collective Curse can just cross the entire map, and you can link every enemy together, and they're all connected, and you can deal damage to one of them, and they're all nearly dead. It is very deadly at max range. Obviously, you want Terrified to have enough range as well to armor strip everybody in the area. Obviously, the offset to that is the fact that everything costs a crazy amount. Like Terrify is 116 energy cost, Collective Curse is 116 energy, your ult is 155, so you need as much energy as you can get. So I have Prime Flow on here for 500 energy, Arcane Energize once again. You could at somewhere put Rage or Hunter Rage. The thing is with those is that they're so nice to have, but if I had one extra mod slot, I would put them in. Obviously you need adaptation, and if I could get away with it, I would put Rolling Guard on here too. So these are the two builds. So this one is for abilities. Mostly this one is for maximizing the most out of your melee weapon. Obviously you could swap in here Steel Charge for extra melee damage instead of Growing Power, but I just like the Growing Power just to keep the strength above 100%. And lastly, I have a Gloom build, which is very similar to the Paul Heavy, except obviously I'm not using Paul, I'm using Gloom. Gloom is a very good ability at just CCing everything around you. It's added survivability. It lets you live longer, and with that, Gloom comes with its own healing, so you can heal with it. So you won't need Arcane Grace as much. So I've used Arcane Blessing in its place, or you could use Arcane Guardian. These are all very expensive things though. So these are very late game stuff. So with your heavy attack build, what melee weapon should you use? So I have 3 for you today. I have the Glaive Prime, which is another very expensive melee weapon, but it is so good because it has innate slash, and you can maximize the most out of your heavy attack, because obviously the Glaive Prime is a heavy attack weapon. So with Kullervo, you don't need crop charge. You can get to 12 times combo and just keep bouncing off 12 times combo. It is lovely. So with that, obviously you use volatile quick return because it's glaive. I have killing blow, pressure point, and I have blood rush. Now weirdly, blood rush and a heavy attack build, it doesn't really make sense, but you get red crits and you get innate slash procs, and it is just absolutely beautiful. I will show you what to do here. So you pull these enemies in. Alt here, and as you can see, I'm gaining, it's a massive area, and I'm gaining all of my combo, and on the last group of enemies here, should only need one. All red crits, and they're instantly dead. Instantly dead. Like, that is insane damage. Like, crazy, crazy insane damage. Another type of weapon with a different melee combo stance mod is Wise Razor, two-handed Nikana. Any will do. I've just chose the Tenet Livia because I just like it. Again, it's the same thing. I have Weeping Wounds on here as well as Blood Rush because I don't need volatile quick return, obviously, as it's not a glaive. But with the Tenet Livia with Wise Razor, I'll put it up on screen. You can see that the heavy attack has innate slash. So if I show you that. So you can see my combo count is stacking up, stacking up. When it gets to 12 times, one hit should do it. There you go. Another hit at 10 times, and I'm just instantly one-shotting these enemies. Again, they're level 200 steel path enemies. They're just dying instantly. It's beautiful. So pretty much any two-handed Nikana can do this, as it's an innate slash prop with the heavy. But I use the Tenet Livia. Lastly, on the list, I have the Venka Prime. Now, this one is just a fun one. Again, with the Vermilion Storm. Vermilion Storm has innate slash procs on a heavy attack. So I have built it for Kullervo. Obviously, without the crop charge, you don't need it. Or attack speed, you're just building for heavy attacks. So this is my build. And this thing can very quickly one-shot things. It is absolutely disgusting. So I'll spawn the enemies in again. Drag all the enemies like last time. Use my ultimate. Build up charge. Now you can see that I'm at 13 times because that's what the Venka Prime can do. It can go even higher. So 13 times. And it just annihilates with the slash proc. And they're done. It is very disgusting. It does a lot of damage. So, yeah. Any heavy weapon can do. It's preference. Obviously the Venka Prime, Glaive Prime, they're quite expensive. But they are very good in their own right. Any two-handed Nikana can do it for innate slash procs with the heavy attack. So it's completely up to you what you want to use. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I will leave you with some Steel Path footage. MOT Survival, I did 5 minutes and it went okay. So I'll leave you with that, and thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.